What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Kofi Kingston, a.k.a. 1/3 of the New Day. You're not going to say it with me, sir? Yeah, come on, you better participate. Let's try it again. 1/3 of the New Day, and you are watching The Young and the Wrestlers. Ha 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 ha.
Welcome to The Young and the Wrestlers, the Pop Culture's WWE podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Betson, alongside...
I'm Shorty J. I'm Jem.
And that's funny because, sorry, that took me off guard because you are actually really short.
I know.
This is our SmackDown analysis. This comes to you every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. on your podcast services, 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you want to join that wrestling conversation, head over to Facebook, facebook.com/group/thepopcultures, Twitter, Discord, Instagram. All those links are in the down below area. If you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopcultures, where we, the night before, around about 8 p.m. Australian Eastern whatever the hell time, you will hear us have this conversation live as we record it in front of you good people. Now, this used to be a little perk behind our Patreon, but you know what? We said, fuck that. There's nothing that should be behind lock and key, especially lock and key that requires dollars. Ain't got time for that. But if you're like, hey, these guys are kind of doing an all right job, and you want to help support us, head over to patreon.com/thepopcultures. Any dollar value is absolutely amazing, but you are not obligated to do so. If you want to support us financially in another way, head over to Facebook. Don't go to... Why do I say that? Don't go to fucking Facebook. Go to popcultures.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. That includes this shirt here, Jem. This is the Young and the Wrestler shirt. There's a bunch of wrestling-inspired designs on there. Check them out. They're worth your time. And while you're on Twitch, give us a follow. All that sort of stuff. Watch us play some games on a Thursday. Podcast services, ratings, reviews. Help get us out and about in those ear holes. But, Jem, how are you?
I am hungry. And, you know, I could go some dog food right now.
We're going to get to that. Holy shit. I'm knackered. Like, that spill just took it all out of me. I was already tired coming in, and then I just bam, I just blew all my energy at the start.
I was going to say, you put a lot into that.
I did. I went real hard.
Heartfelt. Yeah, that's been. I shed a tear. It was very emotional.
It was very sentimental, especially the part I was like supporting financially. I'm like, I feel that part. I feel it. But yeah, how's your week been, man? How's your weekend?
It's not really a weekend. I had a day off and I'm straight back into work again. I did 5 days last week. I'm doing 6 days this week covering my co-worker's shift. So busy, man. Just non-stop trying to sort of survive in between.
Yeah, man.
I'm okay. I'm here. I'm alive for the moment. I will probably pass out after this. How are you?
I'm well. As you know, the grind never stops. Do my 5-day work week as well as recording pods and editing pods and streaming, all that sort of stuff. My life is always consistently busy. So this week, the weekend I did have a wedding that I went to on Saturday when it just piss fucking rained. I was in a park the whole time. It was just it's absolutely horrible. Wedding was lovely though, which was really good. But Ghost of the Machines here in the chat. A bunch of new people in the chat. So we've got a handful. Got Josh Robinson, who is a podcaster himself. Go check out Wrestling Reverb. Ghost of the Machine is a streamer. He's a fantastic streamer. Go check out him. Good champion gamer. Good old Dash coming through as well. Hopefully get some dirt sheet news out of him in the near future. but let's get into and Fluffman Dingus as well. Can't forget the ding. Let's get into the show. Let's just start off with something that, you know, fueled me, and it's fueled me all week.
Okay.
It is the continuation of Otis and Mandy.
Oh, I know.
It's so good.
My heart, my soul.
Love it. So this week, after the events of the Royal Rumble, and this sort of ongoing will they, won't they sort of thing, it's now come to a nice little peak. So Otis went up to Mandy with Sonya and Tucker there being his wingman. Yeah. And he finally did his job, asked Mandy on a hot date.
I know. It was so sweet. So they were backstage. They just lost a match, which we'll get to. And yeah, Mandy came up and she's like, look, I'm so sorry about your loss. I just wanted to say thank you for helping me out at the Rumble. I really appreciate it. And Tucker's like, this is the time. There's no better time than now to do or die.
Wingmanin'.
Do it. Yeah, and he's just like, well, Mandy, you know I like you, and do you maybe want to go out next week? And Mandy was like, look, I'm busy next week, but I'm free the week after.
You know what day that is, Jem?
I didn't click until Corey Graves said it.
It's Valentine's baby. It's gonna be awesome.
I know, it's gonna be very cute. So I'm really excited for that. I love that it's coming full circle, and he's actually asked her out on a date, and it's really cute, and I'm really I'm excited.
Me too. And in the chat, Josh does say, I high-key love this relationship, and Fluff Mandingus agrees. It's so cool, man. I absolutely love it. So it's funny because it is essentially a similar-ish story. It's kind of not similar, but it's the same sort of love angle that they're trying to, that Lana is delivering on Raw. But that is bum comparative to this. This is so sweet, and it's just, at its core, it's nice. How do you think this hot date will go? Let's fantasy book their hot date.
I think it's going to be a beautiful disaster.
Oh, yeah.
I think, Otis is going to end up, covered in, ribs or something like that. And Mandy's just going to be like, oh, frick it. And she's just going to make out with him covered in thing. And Sonya Deville's going to be like, ugh. And Tucker's going to be like, aw.
But, okay. And that's it. What if he goes full-blown, sweet? Takes her to Krispy Kremes or something. Takes her to get some donuts.
Oh, I get, yeah, because, yeah. Oh, that's cute.
Ghost is making fun of me in the chat because I said that Lana's storyline is bum. And he goes, that's the most dad language I have ever heard. Look, I do swear around my kid. I shouldn't because he's 3 and he's starting to swear. And I should really stop. So I'm kind of turning words here and there. Like bum and balls and just other front and back area related swears. But it's true. Josh does it is very organic, and that it totally is. So when the heavy machinery did make their way to the main roster, one of the first things we saw on social media was Otis's response to Mandy, calling her peach, his peach. Sort of really laying some groundwork here. So he played the long game and he stuck it out. What a champ. Absolute champ.
It's super sweet.
But we did mention... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say it's one of those things that Mandy's slowly coming around, which is a bit cute too.
Yeah, because I understand, someone like Mandy would be instantly turned off to the likes of Otis, but, because I guarantee it's not the regular caliber that she would be dating, let alone dating someone from work. It's a difficult place to be, but I think we're going to see something awesome come out of this.
For sure.
Speaking of possibly something awesome coming out of this, as you mentioned, Heavy Machinery did have a match prior to this lovely proposition of dates. They had a 6-man tag.
Mm-hmm. No, it was the 8-man.
8-man tag. 8-man tag.
Yeah, because it was
that's
Lucha
right.
House
because
Party
we forget Lucha House Party. Because fuck them.
Yeah. So it was Lucha House Party versus Heavy Machinery versus The Revival versus Miz and Morrison.
Correct.
For the winners go on to face Kofi and Big E at
Super Showdown.
Yeah. So Miz and Morrison win.
Yeah, this is totally expected. Looking at what's been going on, they have been by far the most dominant over the last couple of weeks, especially getting wins over both Kofi and Big E. It is kind of on the cards. And when I saw this and I saw who was on in the 4 teams, I guess I was like, yeah, I know where it's going.
Yeah, 100%. Especially because obviously John Morrison has a couple of wins over Big E at the moment. Mm-hmm. So I definitely saw that coming. I'm interested to see if this leads into something else. So say the New Day do lose to Miz and Morrison, I could see this moving on to later in the year, after WrestleMania, Heavy Machinery taking over Miz and Morrison and getting their spotlight. Yeah,
that I agree with as well. So I think the big thing here is because the only people to compete in the Royal Rumble were Miz and Morrison, right? Mm-hmm. So understandably that they have I got something to prove here. None of the other guys were in the match, so they didn't get the embarrassment that was being pegged out by Brock.
Yeah, that's
so I understand. That's additional fire to their need to want to prove themselves here. And the same thing. Morrison's been gone for how many years, Jem? How many years?
Oh shit!
I want to say like 8 years. Like he's been gone a very long time. So it's one of those things that you've got to demonstrate when you come back who you are and like that you've not soured over time.
Yeah, no, he's definitely still on his A game, which is really cool.
Fluffman Dingus in the chat jumps in and goes, I love the Lucha House Party. Was glad to see them back. Well, most of them. Josh has the Dirt Sheet coming back this week, though. How good? Ghost adds, when Morrison and Grand Metalik were in the ring working, it was glorious.
Yeah, it was very reminiscent of the Lucha Underground, which is like basically what they both come from. So, very fast paced, very entertaining is the best way to describe it because there's lots of flips and lots of kicks and lots of fast, high energy, high movement. It was really good to watch. It was actually really good to watch, and that's where like John Morrison thrives as well in his like parkour style, which is really like it's just like modified like lucha style.
Yeah, look, I completely really enjoyed it. There was an impressive display of competitors in the match with the likes of the Revival with that old school style wrestling, Heavy Machinery with their harder hitting maneuvers, and excellent teamwork. Lucha House Party flippy doodaring around, and sort of Miz and Morrison being that little mix of kind of bit of everything.
Yeah, definitely really good. I love that it looked like Miz was going to go for like a dive and he just got like ripped down by one of the Revival, just like clotheslined the shit out of, and I was like, that's beautiful. It was so good.
It was fantastic. But moving on, so that means that they will get an opportunity for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship at Super Showdown, which is interestingly the February pay-per-view. So previously, Super Showdown or the Saudi shows, which is, Crown Jewel, tended to be additional pay-per-views for the month, where it looks as if that this may be in fact replacing Fastlane that normally appears around the February, or is it February? Or is Fast?
I think so.
Yeah, because it's I'm pretty confident. I'm having a brain fart right now. Pretty sure it's Rumble, Fastlane, Chamber, then Mania, right? And then
I think
then what would be Backlash, but then became Stomping Grounds. So how do you feel about the Saudi shows becoming that literal canon, I guess?
I hate it.
Yeah.
I don't care for the Saudi shows because they really are just throwaway pay-per-views. I don't think they're going to be worth anything.
But that was when there were supplementary pay-per-views within the month. Maybe
true.
now that they're becoming that month's pay-per-view, will that change how?
Well, it seems like they're setting it
approached?
up to be a proper pay-per-view, so it'll be one of those. I guess we'll have to just wait and see.
Well, we've got like 8 more years of them, so it's not as if they're going away anytime soon.
That's true.
That is a concern. I personally, I'm not a fan of it because it makes it very difficult for us to choose not to watch the Saudi shows because we have our own personal issues with the Saudi those matches specifically. It makes it very difficult for us to step away from them, especially for that month.
Yeah,
which is a bit of a bummer. But speaking of stepping away, we had the likes of Naomi with the Usos be gone for the longest time. However, she did 5 months. She did make her return at the Royal Rumble last week. However, she has seemed to be coming back into the fold pretty much straight away, and looks like she's taken on Bayley for the Women's Championship.
I was very interested by this. I was obviously away when Naomi, I believe she's held the championship before, twice.
Yeah, it's not a window of time that I'm aware of either.
Yeah, so it was really interesting to see her sort of like basically tell Bayley to nut up or shut up. Like, I thought that was really cool. I think it's really awesome to see somebody different in the spotlight at the moment. We're seeing a lot of the rotation of the same superstars. So it was really nice to, I guess it was just a breath of fresh air. Like, I was a bit concerned with, obviously, the Usos and Naomi coming back. Like, the Usos are, like, they're in the fold of it. They've thrown themselves in head first. And I was scared that Naomi would just be lost again. Which
I completely agree with. So, especially with heading into Rumble, knowing the Usos were getting that bit of a run with Roman, and they've sort of come back, I was like, well, what's going to happen with Naomi? Like, is she just biding her time? Is there not a spot for her? Like, what are they planning to do? And it's great because now she's back. She's ready to party. I like it.
And Bayley ain't beat her, sis. So, yeah, I'm really interested to see because, Bayley hasn't beaten Naomi.
Yeah, I'd have to look at the statistics of that. Is that as a champion or ever? That's what I'm curious about.
I think it may be ever. But we'll see. I'm really excited to see it because Bailey and obviously Naomi are very, very different styles. So
Correct.
It'll be a really good match. And I absolutely love that, Bailey tried to attack Naomi. Naomi got the upper hand in the end. And then as she was, about to leave, the Usos entrance hit. And I thought that was really cool that she was, dancing along and, getting in the crowd with them before she left.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really cool transition there. I thought that was really awesome.
Yeah, there's, her theme tune's just banging, man. When that theme kicks in, everyone just sort of gets the vibe going. It's really cool. I did enjoy her new disco head, which she didn't have before. I thoroughly giggled at Corey's comments with the how do we even know that's Naomi? And then 2 seconds he's like, oh no, that's Naomi, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That was very,
2
very
seconds
good.
later it's like, that's Naomi.
But Ghost the Machine asked about Sasha, asking if she was gone. And there's discussion about where they think she is. But yes, she is currently injured. She has an ankle injury. So they're using this storyline that she's off recording her rap album. That sounds like a poor girl's excuse for not being able to be there, which makes sense because if the dynamic of her and Bailey are trying to become the strongest, meanest women in the roster, you don't show that weakness. You say that I'm off doing this, and you're like, oh, I'm off for 8 weeks because I've got to record an album. No one, with Sasha and her family being like Snoop Dogg and whatnot, no one questions that. She come up to me and was I'm off recording an album. I'm like, yeah, no worries, man. She's limping away. I'm like, man, she must be working really hard on that album. I'm not going to put too much thoughts in it, but because this is that situation. I think what they're sort of implying here is we talk about the repetition of superstars currently especially with the women's division. We're not going to see Sasha sort of lose it for a little while. Sasha get involved in the title, especially with Bailey holding on. Ghost put a very interesting comment in the chat. I'm not going to read it out loud because it made me chuckle, but I'll tell you later.
Okay.
So we're not going to see that change anytime soon because when both have made the transition with Sasha's return and Bailey's then transition into a bit more of a meaner person, I don't see them clashing at each other right now, especially not for a little while.
Yeah.
So I think because there is totally precedent because we've seen Sasha be that person before.
Yeah.
And as we always know that Bailey is essentially the follower here to Sasha. So it's interesting to see how she will go and whether not having Sasha there as her partner in crime, as her buddy, as her protector, where the likes of Naomi, will Naomi take advantage of that and come out champion?
Possibly.
To all the things that I've been thinking about, really. Ghost and Ghost also adds Bailey Sasha for Mania would have to be the plan. I think that would be amazing. In terms of if Sasha's behavior pattern repeats, then yes, we would very likely see that in the next upcoming months. I think that would be at least very interesting. I probably want to see that more than Naomi versus Sasha or Bailey versus Sasha at Mania, personally.
Yeah.
How do you sort of think that could happen? The idea of them fighting against each other?
Well, I've been saying it for the longest time. I have been saying that, I think Sasha's pulling strings and eventually Bailey's going to crack and just be like, I can't deal with your shit anymore. And they're going to have that break up again.
Yeah.
So I can definitely see in one way or another, I definitely think it is going to come full circle and end up being a Sasha versus Bailey feud.
It is very interesting when you look back at what we were seeing sort of the tail end of last year with this possible return of the Four Horsewomen. There was a lot of communication amongst the four of them. However, they couldn't be further away from each other right now.
Yeah,
it's very fascinating how their behaviors and their goals have changed so rapidly within the last couple of months. Whether we'll get back to that Four Horsewomen stuff, I don't know personally, but I like seeing them go in their separate directions for the moment. But it would be cool to see sort of Sasha and see that team work again, because as it stands right now, SmackDown literally has 2 women's tag teams. 2.
Yep, and they were in a competition tonight.
Again, 3rd week in a row, 4th week in a row, possibly.
Yep. Yeah, I know.
Before we jump into that, though, Josh did want to add to the comment about Sasha and Bayley. I think it's going to end up being some kind of multi-woman match for the SmackDown Women's title at Mania. Personally, I think that'd be very likely. I think there's, with there being more singles women in SmackDown right now, it would make sense to get a good couple have a good go at it, which would be nice. And Ghost also adds with the Four Horsemen, seeing as Shayna's offsides have been considered a failure. That's Jessamine Duke and Maria Shafir.
Shafir, yeah.
Yeah. I always thought her name was Jessamine Duke, but no, it's Jessamine Duke. The first name, totally better. Jessamine, weird fucking name.
Yeah.
But they've been doing the house show circuit, so they're not quite ready for major limelight, let alone Mania. But yeah, so back to the women's tag teams. Once again, we see Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross take on Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, Fire and Desire. According to Michael Cole, this may lead to a SmackDown Women's Championship opportunity, which I think it should go those belts should go to Raw because there's not enough women to defend it.
Yeah. But the thing is, I'm pretty sure the SmackDown, the women's championships are fluid. I think they are
very much cross brand, but they will likely stay primarily wherever that tag team is hosted, right? So that's even true. Asuka and Kairi, although I believe that they are primarily Raw superstars, therefore we're seeing them a lot on Raw. So if it does happen to go across to SmackDown, we're going to see one team having it, one team constantly chasing it. And unless they just start throwing people together like Carmella and Dana or something like that, it's absolute disappointment. Because one thing we were discussing before the show, I was like, what about the Iconics? We haven't seen them in a little while. They're on Raw. Don't matter.
Yeah. Exactly.
There aren't enough women tag teams in general, let alone, like, I still like these titles. I think they are good. I think they can be used well. However, I don't think the placement of the women right now isn't going too well.
No, unfortunately not.
And especially when we're going to see the likes of presumably Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross go for those belts again, as they did get the win here over Fire and Desire. Now, both of these women have previously been tag team champions. It's this interesting thing. Like, granted, having them be previous champions, it's more than likely that they would be the ones to come through with the win. Mm-hmm. But personally, it would have been cool to see Sonya and Mandy have a shot.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think Sonya and Mandy are well overdue, but we'll see what happens.
So I was getting a drink.
That's okay.
Yeah, no, it's totally true. Like, yes, they'd had the opportunity in the past. That's pretty cool. And I guess because of the nature of the numbers, they will always be given a shot. Mm-hmm. But it is disheartening. I can imagine it can be only disheartening for them that every time they even get close to a tag team match, they're coming out the rough end of the stick. They consistently. I can't remember the last time they won a tag team match personally.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't.
Yeah, I'm sure they may have won against Alexa and Nikki because 50-50 booking. But we'll see how that goes. But anyways, let's jump away from that into once again, speaking of one-sided matches, Sheamus and Shorty G continuing.
Yeah, I don't get this. I'd like this to be the end of this. It's really just like, obviously Sheamus has been gone a while and he's got a lot to prove. He's got a lot to, he's got to show that he's a strong dude. But when you're beating the same guy every week for 3 weeks, like, it doesn't make you look strong. Mm. Like, you've already conquered that mountain, move on to something else. I know Sheamus is a phenomenal wrestler. Like, I'd like to see him go up against somebody his own size.
I agree with that, but I think this is an example here with Chad Gable. That's right. I call him Chad Gable, not Shorty G. Ghost Machine. He asked in the chat not to call him Shorty G because it hurts. For Shame, it's one of those. It's that weird situation, right? You've come back out of for a while. Think about it animalistically, which is not a word. He comes in. You find the weakest in the herd, even the smallest in the herd, right? So you find that one person that you believe that you can have an advantage over. Like, why would he come in and then take on Roman as an example? You know what I mean? Like, if you want to come back and at least give out the appearance that you are bigger, you are stronger, Fight the smallest person. Because A, you will instantly look bigger. You will instantly look stronger. It's actually a smart decision, especially for optics and like how you want to look towards the perception, right? And when you see him standing next to Shorty, you're like, man, you look jacked.
That's true.
And then you have him stand next to Braun, and you're like, I don't know, did you really use the time away correctly? Just saying.
Yeah.
So he's made a smart call here because this is the second win.
Yeah.
Pre-show match at Royal Rumble Sheamus gets himself a win. For some reason, got a rematch here, gets himself a win. Even after old Chad Gable got a little bit aggressive during the walk-in, still delivered the same thing. Josh said, "Old mate Chatty G is just so like or whatever."
Yeah.
But the thing here, Jem, is where does Sheamus go now?
That's the question. I mean, I don't know. I feel like he's going to work his way up to something big. Obviously, we'll get to this next, I'm assuming. But I think with the happenings of the show, I feel like he may try and climb the ladder and go for that person next and work his way up into title picture. That's certainly possible because I was thinking about it, right?
Potentially teaming up again with Cesaro, bringing back the bar. However, there are once again an interesting amount of tag teams as it stands, especially male tag teams within SmackDown. So that could be an option. Could he then assist this faction with the artists? I guess they're possibly with Sami Zayn, Shinsuke, and Cesaro, because they've had consistently losses pretty much. Maybe have the likes of Sheamus can be what brings them across the line, because what makes a faction look good? It's winning, and they are not doing it right now.
Yeah.
And Sheamus has more consistent wins than them.
Well, I was thinking on the other end of the scale. I was thinking maybe like Sheamus is going to go through them to prove that he is better than them, so he can take on someone.
That's an interesting pull, actually. So, like, it would mean something because you're going through, your ex-tag team partner here. Like, you are like that determined on your path. You're willing to take down anyone in your path. And adding to the idea of, like, who is the, separating the wheat from the chaff, like, who is having a shitty run that's worth getting involved in.
Yeah.
Right? And that is heading back into those, like, Cesaro, Shinsuke. Because Shinsuke, coming off a sweet loss. Cesaro, he's not having a good run either. Ghost requests that they reform the League of Nations, which they could do here. Scotland, Switzerland, and Japan. They could, and Sammy's Canadian and Syrian.
Oh, yeah. That could actually work. Now that you've mentioned that could work.
It would be an option.
Yeah.
So I'm just drinking some water again. Sorry.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a really interesting concept, actually. That's got me thinking.
Ghost says that legit would be sweet.
We did see a little biffo there with Elias interrupting Sami Zayn after Shinsuke's loss.
Yeah, the difficulty here is Elias isn't doing a whole lot. He sort of comes in, pokes around, and then bugs off.
Yeah, which was like, is this going to lead to anything? Like, could we see a Cesaro-Elias match?
Do you think we will?
I think so. I mean, Cesaro did end up getting bested by Elias. I didn't see why, but I know that.
Just sort of caught him off guard, really.
Yeah.
For here, I'm wondering what if we're getting in the head of these superstars here, what is it that they need? Like if they want to push themselves up forward and and sort of get higher in that rung, is taking on Cesaro taking on the likes of Elias or Elias taking on any of them? Wouldn't that be additionally like more of a step sideways rather than even a step upwards?
Well, I think it just proves the strength of Cesaro because of, Elias is a big dude. He's jacked. So, it'll definitely, it makes Cesaro look stronger, for sure. Because while Cesaro is also, a big dude, he's not as, bulky. He's more lean, whereas Elias is quite, buff. So, taking down somebody who looks jacked when you're a bit more lean, it just shows how strong you really are.
Yeah, I guess on a surface level, but if you want legitimacy, Elias isn't offering that.
Yeah, that's true. Elias isn't offering much.
No. So
His music skills are subpar.
That is very true. Fluffman Dingus goes, I'm glad Elias got to interrupt somebody for once and then get interrupted again.
Yeah.
Mad Dog goes, g'day guys, the League of Reforms, and then gets squashed by the Leagues of Tampa at Mania.
Oh.
So, the Legends of Tampa. So a bunch of, because, Florida, Tampa, Florida specifically is where a bunch of the Legends currently reside. So they go there for Mania. Surprise, Bush, they come on in. Mattis Pie comes in and goes.
Except for one, because you can't see him.
That's right. You don't know he's there. You never see him. Mattis Pie jumps in and goes, hey, love, just popping in to say, Hadouken! What a champion. Thanks much, man. He's now going to go have lunch.
Love it.
But Josh does agree it is moving sideways, and I guess it's the potential there is, could you then become the biggest fish in that smallest pond, and then when that time does come for an opportunity at the likes of the Intercontinental Championship, would that be then, well, let's look down who's around, who's earned their keep, all right, you are the strongest of this lower rung, give us a go.
Yeah.
Which is just what happened this week with Braun Strowman, who was finally given his shot at the Intercontinental Championship.
I know.
And he won!
I'm so happy for him.
Yeah, man.
About time he's finally got his own individual belt.
That's it. So this is Braun Strowman's first singles championship. This is obviously excluding the Saudi belt, which he did get from winning the Rumble that one time, but it doesn't really count. We've never seen it again. So he has had the tag team twice, I believe, three times. Once with Seth Rollins, once with that kid at Mania.
Yeah.
I believe there may be one more time. I'm not too sure.
It's well overdue. I'm so happy for him. I'm so excited to see how this can elevate the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah.
Because Shinsuke had held it for 199 days.
Exactly.
Something like that.
Spot on. And that's the good point. Although Shinsuke
felt like a week.
It really did. It really did. Shinsuke had it for the longest time. It felt like nothing. The belt felt like nothing. And having it locked behind this, sort of this collective of shit. Mm-hmm. It's very
which Braun overcame all of it to win the match.
He did, because there was a lot of dirty behavior from the likes of Sami and Cesaro, but Braun was still come out and give that a go. Personally, very happy with this, knowing that Braun has had many, many goes at the likes of WWE Championship as well as the Universal Championship. Totally perfect for me, man. I was very happy. I'm a big Braun fan, so very keen to see how this went. And you can see it in his face.
And he didn't flip any limos.
He didn't flip any limos. He didn't pull any sets down. He didn't break any ambulances. He had a real red hot go here. And I do think he'll have a very strong run with it because, he's a huge unit, and who wants to fight him?
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah. And as we start to see, when we, this is something that we're seeing on both Raw and SmackDown with the champions, the big champions, Universal and WWE, they are kind of absent. It gives an opportunity for these mid-card belts to really have time to shine. And as you mentioned with Shinsuke, that wasn't happening. So if you look over at Raw with the United States Championship, we're seeing banger matches with Andrade and Rey, and it's elevating that belt to be something worth wanting, something worth having.
Yeah.
And the IC Championship didn't see that way. However, it's looking to be that way now.
Mm-hmm. And it's exciting.
How do you think Braun's run's going to go? Short, long, hurdles? How do you see it?
I don't know. This is something I always thought he'd get a bigger belt. So having something like this, I really don't know how it's going to go. I think it's going to be hilarious because he's just going to squash everybody that tries to come for it because it's a notoriously a mid-carder sort of cruiserweight type belt. So it'll be interesting to see who he comes up with the likes against. I don't know. I think it's going to be very interesting, and I'm excited because I don't know what way it could go, and I'm just bring it on. I want to know more already.
Yeah, I completely agree. So I think sort of adding to what you pitched earlier with the likes of Sheamus, I would love to see Sheamus versus Braun. I think that would be awesome, especially, coming from the smallest person in the roster to potentially the biggest person in the roster. That is the next logical step for Sheamus here, and I do think it will be a ripper But similar to what Fluffman Dinger says in the chat, I hope he goes a long run. I agree with
Yeah.
you. I agree with Fluffman. I think he will
deserves
have a long time. Easily through Mania, unquestionably. It'll be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Josh adds, his run will hopefully be meaningful regardless of length.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of those things, because as you mentioned, he's had plenty of opportunities, and it's now that he's got it, he's not giving it up.
Yeah.
He will hold that tight. You have to pull it from these hands.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Very, very happy. But one thing that I didn't really enjoy as we come towards the back end of the show here, before we get into our dirt sheets, we see what is presumably the end of the Roman Corbin feud with the most Vince McMahon fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. Winner makes the loser team eat dog food.
Blech. Stupid. It was the stupidest stipulation, and
Ghost as
My
in the chat.
head
It was
hurts.
good shit.
Yep, that good shit.
Good shit.
My head hurts just thinking about it. Like, I literally have a headache sitting right behind this eyeball thinking about it. Like, I've got a bit of a twitch as well. Like, it's just... and you knew exactly which way it was going to go as well. Like, you knew exactly what was going to happen. Like, I was sitting there at the start of the match, like, Corbin's going to lose. He's going to get handcuffed to the ring post, and they're just going to pour dog food over him like he did to Roman Reigns. And lo and behold, that's what happened. It hurts. It's dumb, petty shit, and I hope this is the end of it, because it's just been the dumbest feud that has absolutely nothing come out of it. I'm just over it.
This feud has been going since King of the Ring.
Just want it done.
It's like 6 months plus.
Yeah, it's like the Rusev Lana stuff. Just wrap it up. Like, this is just, it's done.
Yeah, I do think this is where it needs to wrap up. This is where it needs to be finished up, because
nowhere else to
you can't look good out of this. Like, you can't. There's no legitimacy for Corbin to then take on Roman again after this.
No, it's Roman getting his comeuppance. That's the end of it. They've got to move on now. They have to.
Yeah, and I completely agree. This has been one of the most uneventful stories. Now, it has essentially been two people bickering for the better part of 6 months. All about who is leader of the locker room. But then again, it became one of those fights like, what are they even fighting for anymore? Very quickly. Once they, no one cared about them, who was the leader. Like, that doesn't affect us. We as the regular people, the people that watch the show, we don't care. Don't care at all.
No, not in the slightest.
All I can hope that comes out of this is possibly the Usos and the Roman teaming up, doing something. That's all I hope.
Yeah.
But what does this mean for, Cesaro? Not Cesaro, fuck. What does this mean for Baron? What does this mean for Rude? What does this mean for Dolph post this?
Don't care. I think, look, Baron Corbin is great at what he does. Like, he's so good at making you hate him, but I don't want to see any more of him at the moment. I've seen too much. I think he needs to take a step away and let us forget about him for a minute, and then we can, when he comes back, it'll be like, oh yeah, this guy, I hate you, awesome. Like, you know what I mean?
Josh says the story here is that Corbin thinks that Roman is an actual dog, and it's rough. But yeah, that's it is that weird thing. Once again, it's that schoolyard bickery. It's like someone's surname being like Cockburn, right? You're like, ha ha, cock, and that's what it's become. It's like, you think you're the big dog? You big dogs eat dog food. I'll get you. My personal prediction of what will happen after this is, because I believe the NXT superstars that presented themselves in the Rumble, there was only 2 slots to NXT, and I believe those 2 slots were chosen very specifically. I do think that Keith Lee will make his way to the roster. I do believe that Matt Riddle will make his way to the main roster. And as a result, who was the one to eliminate Matt Riddle?
Corbin.
It was Baron Corbin.
I could see.
My prediction
I could see.
is that we see Riddle
Baron
and
Riddle.
Corbin in the near future. Because there's very few that's as over as Matt Riddle right now.
Yeah.
And who is the most hated heel right now? Baron Corbin. Now, Baron Corbin originally began as legitimate heel heat that has now become go away heat because of this dog food shit. There was a good window of time where that was positive, where like he was hated. Like I reveled in the fact that he was going to become king.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, this is the worst. I'm like, this is awesome. Like everyone's hating it. Everyone's getting so mad. This is going to be great.
Yeah.
I agree. So that's where I draw that line. I do think we will see Riddle very soon, or at least within the nearest future. And then there's a little bit of story there. It's like, who do you Corbin be like, who do you think you are? I eliminated you like super quick, mate. I got no time for you. And Corbin's like, look, I'm gonna take on Brock at some point, but until then, I'm gonna kick you. I'm gonna throw my thongs at you.
Yeah.
Ghost in the Machine does jump in the chat and goes, Corbin needs to win a feud though. And I totally agree with that because he's lost all legitimacy, as has Roman, because presumably Roman's gone after that championship now. I think it has been long speculated that Roman will at some point return to the main title picture, which in this case would then take on Bray Wyatt or The Fiend.
Yes.
But that leaves Baron kind of behind doing a whole not much.
Yeah, that's true.
There is one difficulty in my prediction, in my theory, though, is that Matt Riddle did just win the Dusty Classic with Pete Dunne, the Broserweights. So they have a NXT Tag Team title opportunity at the next takeover, I believe, which is in Portland. So depending on the outcomes of that could be a good, like, because takeovers tend to be a good final match.
Yeah.
However, that is at that's Mania weekend. And that's 2 months away. 3 months away. 2 months away. It's a bit of time. Chat, let us know what you think where Corbin should go. And do you also believe that Roman will probably take his way to championship? So what about the lackeys here, Jem? What about Rudolph?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tricky one. I feel like they may end up moving into the Intercontinental picture.
Okay.
Maybe.
But you said some good fodder for Braun, I guess?
Yeah. But I don't see much else happening. I don't see them with belts or anything like that. Not anytime soon.
Well, the Usos make sense. Like once either they combine forces with the Roman, which we would love, but I don't think they will. I think they will then probably return to the tag team picture. And I imagine once, presumably, Miz and Morrison take out the wins at Super Showdown, Usos come back in. Yeah. That's what I think. Ghost does, I want Rude and Ziggler to do a beer money style gimmick. Just ass kickers. And he goes, I reckon Ziggler could pull it off.
That could work for sure.
So just going there and just kicking butts.
Yeah.
Like, no real major feud other than we just want to decimate everyone nearby.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a cool way to go about it, actually.
Yeah.
I quite like that a lot. But that is the show. That's what happened on SmackDown this week. Not a whole lot, really. Like, there was good. Like, there were moments of good, and overall it wasn't horrible, except for a couple little moments. But where would you sit it?
Yeah. Oh, look, it was just dead center.
Dead center, as we say here on the Young and the Wrestlers, that's a Kurt Angle. Because Kurt Angle looks like a thumb.
It's like a thumb.
So that's our rating system. Whenever we do decide to rate something, you either get 2 Kurt Angles, a Kurt and a bar, a Kurt, or just a bar.
Or a Triple H.
Or Triple H. If it's that bad, you're Triple H.
I'm Kurt Angle.
Just one little Curty.
Yeah.
So let's wrap up the show as we do with the Dirt Sheet. So our good friend Dirt Sheet Dash, he knows people. He has places to reach out to. So he scours the internet. He contacts pages. He does that sneaky payphone shit you see in like old movies. He stands there waiting for it to ring and then, dials whatever the numbers. I don't know how old phones work. It's been a very long time. I haven't had it. Uses dial-up modems and stuff for safety. And then he gets you all the info that you need about the backstage side of wrestling. 3 bits of news in the Dirt Sheet today.
Ooh.
Number 1. Edge apologizes to Dash and the internet. Spinning the rumor mill into meltdown after many months of speculation that the Rated R superstar would be making his in-ring return at this year's Royal Rumble. Edge finally shocked the wrestling world with his surprise entrance into the Battle Royal this year. While we continued to break the news down on the Young and the Wrestlers, it was obviously Copeland's duty to deny all allegations of the proceedings. Now that it has all come to a head, Edge has formally put out a statement to fans as he felt that he owed us all an apology. Look,
That's sweet.
Look, I'm going to half apologize. I mean, it was supposed to be a surprise, right? It would have been fucking stupid of me to outright confirm that I was coming back and putting my hat into the Rumble match. Vince would have killed me. But I do feel like I played a lot of fans like fools, and for that I'm sorry. But hey, at least you had me back, right? I'm ready for WrestleMania season, and it's time for us to get the rated R once again. Oh, and yes, that Dash guy. You were right all along. I was full of shit. Mad Dog in the chat, the Aussie Dave Meltzer. That's right, Dirt Sheet Dash is Australia's Dave Meltzer, but he can actually make a coherent sentence, unlike Dave Meltzer, who is just seemed to be in his mouth. I don't know. His mouth doesn't work to his face. I don't know what's going on, but I cannot listen to the man. I cannot listen to him. And Brian Alvarez's constant negativity makes me want to vomit.
Yeah. Number
2, the Revival are reportedly asking for WWE's release again. Brian Alvarez of Figure4WrestlingOnline.com is reporting that the Revival asked for their releases again last week. Alvarez added that they, quote, desperately want out, end quote, but were still turned down. And a source noted to Fightful, the WWE has been, quote, throwing everything at the Revival, and they're just saying, quote, we'll let you know, end quote, of an end quote. WWE reportedly offered Revival a new deal last month that included more money and fewer dates. Meanwhile, Scott Dawson posted the following tweet on Thursday: tag team wrestling just doesn't draw any money. This is something that we've been about for a while. So they were offered previously like a good, handsome deal of like $750,000 something. It was a lot, like a big old deal, and they turned it down. They've gone on more of a sort of bit by bit, you know, essentially to the end of their contract.
Yeah.
Now, we did remember that there was a little bit of AEW sort of like snarky internet shit towards the Revival of like sort of like teasing them and poking at them. It is presumed that they're going to make that way when they do bounce, right? Like if you want tag team wrestling, where's the place that delivers incredible tag team wrestling?
Yeah.
It's AEW.
It sure is.
In the chat, Ghost the Machine goes, Dash is a more buff version than Uncle Dave. And Josh Robinson jumps in. Same with Brian's current hairstyle. Yikes. Yeah, he's got this weird, beaded look going on. It's gross. Yeah. But speaking of AEW, though, and Edge, he's come back and says Edge did, in fact, talk with AEW before signing back with the WWE. Edge signed a new 3-year deal with WWE that will see him wrestle multiple times a year, but he almost went to AEW because they were offering him a huge deal. It was reported that Edge had no intention of wrestling for All Elite. Sorry, as I stutter on myself there. He still spoke to them regardless. If he was just trying to drive up WWE's offer, it worked. Meltzer mentioned on Wrestling Observer Radio that Edge told WWE that AEW had offered him $3 million a year with limited dates. WWE apparently matched that number for the Rated R superstar, and now Edge will get $3 million a year for the next 3 years.
Freak.
He must wrestle 4 times a year and appear on 25 episodes of WWE television during that 3-year window. The Wrestling Observer newsletter noted that Edge might be working more dates than that. However, his deal with WWE was still incredibly lucrative. It was incredibly lucrative thanks to AEW. Crazy. This lines up with what AEW are trying to do. They've made plenty mentions of, look, we may not be getting everyone that comes our way, but we're helping them get better deals. We have changed this wrestling space.
Yeah.
And they've done that here. Because there's almost no way that the Edge would go there. Like, because he couldn't be Edge. And, you know, was it Adam Copeland? Is not as exciting name. Copeland. Like, you know, would his Edge become corner or something, like some sort of other variant of the side of a table? I don't know where he's going to go with that. I had the weirdest
thing, man, because the other night I was hanging out with my housemates watching Vikings, and I was like sitting there and I was like, why does that face look That's Edge.
Yeah, that motherfucker's in Vikings, man.
I was like, Why is he not wearing it? Why is he wearing a t-shirt and why is he not wearing red pants that have a big old R on them?
Why isn't he speared? Why hasn't he speared anyone?
Yeah, and I was just like, this isn't. I don't. It was so weird. I just had the weirdest. Like, I forgot that he was an actor as well now, and I was just like.
Well, that would explain the minimal dates, because obviously there is a shooting window that he might need to bugger off for a little while and do some stuff. So it makes sense for him to sort of have some time away. But 25 days in a year, it's a lot. That's half a year. Over 3 years. So it's about 6 months worth of shows, presumably. But you could do that in sort of 3-month blocks each year. Now, understandably, that deal will still stand. However, he may not be able to compete. I don't know what if there's any clause in there about his injury, especially his neck injury, and whether that will allow him, if that does happen to fall in on itself, does the deal crumble? Does the deal maintain? Does the specifics of the deal alter accordingly?
There has to be a foul.
You'd hope so. Adding back to the Revival, Ghost Machine goes, I just want the Revival versus the Bucks to headline a pay-per-view.
Oh, right.
That'd be banging.
That would be
so good. So damn good. But anyway, that brings us to the end of this wrestling conversation where we broke down, we analyzed SmackDown, hashtag SmackDown Anal. This conversation happens every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. on your podcast services, 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you want to join said wrestling conversation, head over to facebook.com/groups/thepopculturist, Twitter, Discord. All those links are in the description below. Our Twitter handles are underneath our heads, so you can come and follow us and chat all the things. Today, I was making fun of the Shakira video because that thing is the funniest thing I've ever seen. Fucking died. I thought it was brilliant. I don't watch. I have no context. So I didn't watch. I'm derailing the outro here, but I didn't watch Super Bowl halftime show. I have no idea why she's randomly tongue bashing the camera, but she's giving it a red hot go. Go Shakira. Apparently J-Lo is like up pole dancing and shit. She's like 50 years old, still looks immaculate. I gotta watch that for research purposes alone.
For research purposes.
And then possibly some self enjoyment.
For science.
Yeah, science. Thank you, science. Yeah, I was just going to straight up admit why I was going to watch it. But if you want to join the wrestling conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopculturist, 8 p.m. the night before, where we chat about it, live record that on Twitch, and we get to enjoy this with a handful of awesome people like Josh, like Fluffman Dingus, like the Mad Dog, that, like Good Sheet, Dash, the Ghost, a bunch of awesome people that come and chat wrestling with us. If you want to support us in a more financial way, head over to patreon.com/thepopculturist. We can support us any tier. No rewards right now. It's just up to you. We much appreciate it, but no obligations to do so. We do also sell merch. You head over to popculturist.com/shopping, buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. And while you follow us on Twitch to watch us record the show, watch us play some games on a Thursday night at 8 p.m. And we will be back in a couple of days, 2 days, in fact, to chat Raw. But until then, I'm Ryan Betson.
And I'm Jem.
And that was The Young and the Wrestlers. I almost did the For the Players outro there, so quickly backpedal. We'll see you in a couple of days. The Young and the Wrestlers, the Pop Culturist WWE podcast, is fan support over at Patreon at patreon.com/thepopculturist. And we'd like to thank our Patreon producers and our Patreon founders for their kindness, their support, and their generosity. Our Patreon founders: Alpha Ferret, Craig O'Flaherty, David Chataway, Jesse Stevenson, and Jacob Garner. And our Patreon producers: AJ Abatomi, Damian Holdies, Kyle Dunn, Lee Wintershoven, Nathan Massetti, Paul James, Pure Mongrel, and Sean Levitt.